Hi, I'm Gila Nehemia, sacred erotic self-love poet, mentor, author, and mystic. I'm super excited. I have a collaboration Ascension series, and today I'm interviewing Dianna Leeder. Did I pronounce your first name correctly?
It's Dianna.
Dianna, I wasn't sure because you spell it so much a little differently. So Dianna Leeder. I'm going to give a little bit of background for Dianna before we, about Dianna before we begin. And then we'll go into some questions. So Dianna Leeder is a women's life and confidence coach, an author, podcaster, and head life hack at Crave More Life Coaching, where she is showing the world that women know they have a voice and are confident enough to unapologetically use it. She works with women who are tired of being quiet to use their understanding of their inner selves to heal their voices and live out loud. Through her Voices of Women's Project, women are given a platform for healing by openly sharing their stories, learning what and who they are speaking for, and by being her. If you too think that the times of women being silenced is over, join Dianna and we will talk about her website. It'll be in the details. And yeah, I'm just really excited that you're here, Dianna. Thank you for coming.
Oh, thank you for the invitation. I've been excited about it since we planned it, and it's been a little while in the planning. As you're reading that, I'm reading my bio. I'm thinking, I think I've rewritten that 4 times since I gave it to you.
Well,
yeah,
actually,
so I'm happy to be here.
Thank you. Thank you. Sorry to interrupt you. Actually, as I was reading it, I was like, wow, that's very similar to what I do. So I'm sure we're going to have a lot to talk about today.
I think so, and a lot of things in common for sure. Yeah.
Yes, yes. So from your perspective, why do you think women lose their voices?
I think that women lose their voices primarily from fear. I think that we interpret what happens around us. We interpret the behavior of other people. We absorb some of the social female requirements, I'll say, with a lot of that's not okay written in there. And we start to live them. In some ways it's easier to go with the flow than it is to challenge ourselves. So as much as we can, we can look outside and think about all the things that are happening that don't support us to use our voice. In reality, we need to look inside and start to align with our own needs and our own desires and our own wants so that we can actually use our voices and we know what to say. Or to be, because I believe very strongly that being who we are is not simply about speaking. It's not simply about the words we use or the times that we need to tell someone something or express our needs. We can express who we are in a multitude of ways. So voice is just one, but it's the obvious one. And it's the first one out of the gate. When something happens, that's the first thing that we think of. That's the first kind of obvious way to express ourselves. So yeah, that's why I think we are bombarded with things, including childhood trauma, including relationship trauma, all those things that hold us back. And we don't get what we want if we don't ask for it.
I'm glad you mentioned that because I haven't yet finished it, but I've been listening to The Body Keeps the Score by Bessel van der Kolk. I don't know if you're familiar with it, but he really describes it very well. He's a psychiatrist that's studied a lot of people, probably over hundreds or thousands. I'm not even sure the numbers, but like what he said, I thought really hit me at one point when he was like, when someone experiences trauma, which is my specialty, so when someone experiences trauma, they can't speak. It doesn't matter, man, women, doesn't matter who you are. You're just like silenced, and it's not even that someone is silencing you. It's not like someone's putting a gun to your head and being like, don't talk, like you can't, like it doesn't matter what it is. Like it just, that's the way it is. And for a long time, I didn't understand that because I had experienced it and I didn't really know what I would ask myself, why didn't I say anything? Like, what was going on with me? But I realized it's actually part of the experience, because it's like, it's so, at least the way I understand it, it's so like not, it's not something that you would ever expect. And then you just, you don't know how to respond. And then that becomes your response of not responding.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And that becomes repetitive.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah, for sure. Some of the reading that I've done has been along those same lines, about how our bodies hang on to that trauma and make us sick going forward.
Exactly.
You know, and is very, very strongly linked to addiction. You know, we're lost. These are my words, but we're lost in that place of not being able to respond. So, and it doesn't feel good. So basically we're numbing. I certainly see that a lot in my practice. Absolutely. And it goes, you know, in terms of women using their voices, it moves from, you know, something as serious as that to someone who, you know, was raised to be a good girl, and she can't, you know, she can't get out of that mold. So it's really broad, and yeah, it's really broad. But that being said, it's not insurmountable. You know, I mean, look at the work that you're doing with your, you know, with your clients. You know, it's amazing, and thank goodness there is someone like you doing it. And then to, you know, to go forward and simply, you know, working with women who are in that good girl space. You know, oh, I could never, you know, and I mean, you're a sex coach. So I could never tell my husband that I want to do that. You know, well, yeah, you can. And here's how you can do it. You know, I have a whole model that I use to help women figure that out. You know, because we often, it's, I don't know what to say. I'm afraid to say it, but I don't know what to say anyway.
Right.
No,
I think, yeah, I love how you brought that into the conversation, because I think it's really true. Like, intimacy is such, it's such an important part of a relationship, and relationships in general are, you know, our largest space of growth, spiritually, emotionally, physically, mentally. And when we, you know, we can't go there, then, you know, the question that I then have is, so what are you doing? You know, so what is that? You know, what does that mean to you if you can't express yourself? And I was there, you know, honestly, I was there. I was like living the life, but there was a part of me that never actually opened up in my previous marriage. And I think a lot of people live that. Do you have any ideas why, from your experience?
You know what? I think that it is a shutting down. You know, that's kind of my take, my simple take. It is a shutting down. You know, when we don't feel heard, or we don't feel as though we are brave enough to speak up or to be ourselves, or again, if we don't know what to say. And there's still, you know, I mean, I hate to admit to this, but there is still such an inequity in terms of sex for women and for men. You know, I mean, there are lots of women out doing their thing and you know, getting their needs met, which is awesome. But there are still women who don't feel as though that's okay, for society in general. You know, so there are lots of things I think that hold us back. And sexually, in terms of relationships, it's huge. It's so big. And, you know, and I really believe that we, in order to really be ourselves and to be able to speak what we know is true to us, we have to understand what that is. So we have to be, you know, there's that sovereignty that you'd mentioned earlier. There is that alignment to self that is vital, no matter what you're doing or what you're talking about or where you're stepping out to grow. That's vital. And you know as well as I do that when you are aligned with yourself, life changes in a really great way. So in doing that, you know, if you took a look at all the parts of your life as a woman where you need to be fulfilled, sexually has got to be right up there, right up there, I mean, because it's not just, I mean, it's physical, it's emotional, it's all kinds of things. It connects to the heart space. It connects to our bodies. It connects us to sometimes shame and things like that, that we need to work through to be able to express ourselves sexually. But, I gotta say, whether you are in a relationship with someone or you're on your own, you got to take care of that piece. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, I completely agree. That's part of my work. Yeah, and I feel like, because it's really also created to our creative life force energy. It's related to our creativity. As women, we can create children. But we can also birth projects, book projects. We can birth artwork, we can birth poetry. We can birth really anything we desire. I think we talked about this in our interview, it's orgasmic manifestation. You can through orgasm, you can have manifestations. So that's such a powerful, it's such a powerful gift that we all have. And, and I feel even if you're having like really good sex and you're not able to voice your needs or your complete desires to your partner, there's still a part of you that you're not really accepting your power. And I would say, at least from my perspective, what I work with is one, the trauma and all of those things that have happened in our lives that we discussed, and not to belittle that, that's huge. And also just the environment, like the mind control, the social environment that we've been fed all our lives, maybe for generations throughout our lines and in our consciousness, that makes it really challenging to step out of. It's not an easy task, to say, okay, this is really who I am, and this is what I want, and I can have it. And not coming from this, kind of a dominating perspective, but really like balancing that energy within yourself, and so it's very, very involved. But I think that when you can begin to step into it, and realize the power of the voice. And I wrote a poem once about orgasm and just screaming. And a lot of women don't even scream. They're like afraid. Or even in childbirth, I don't know if everyone screams. Like, I don't know. I know I did.
I'm pretty sure I did too.
And I don't think it was that, right? And that's kind of okay, right? That's accepted. Like, okay, you can scream there, but maybe not here, So, like, who made up those rules? Like,
exactly.
Who said that?
It probably wasn't a woman. I'll tell you that.
Exactly. And I would even say that men as well are equally hurting because of this, like, let's just, from my perspective at the moment, it's a patriarchal paradigm that we're living under. And when we decide to say no to that, the societal control, both men and women are benefiting, because, men are emotionally, many of them, and I'm not making just a huge generalization, but many people who identify with that masculine energy, emotionally are shut down. It's really hard. Boys are not trained to speak their emotions. And it's really unfortunate, because then it makes it very difficult for a woman to become very like effusive. And then like the guy's like, I don't know, or it doesn't matter. It could be same sex. It's just these male female energies. It usually works that way. But if we can open up to a different paradigm of really, like you said, authentically being ourselves and owning our stuff, and, sharing, this makes me feel uncomfortable, and, but I really want to share this, and I'm trying to, whatever it is, however you want to say it, I think that creates a lot of room to grow, when you're really honest. And I, that's really what I focus on in with my clients and with myself.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, don't always get it right, but that's what I'm at too. I think when we and to kind of take that down into another spot, when we start to use our voice, when we start to challenge ourselves and move out of that, to some degree, often our relationships are off kilter. people aren't used to who we are. So whether it's in the bedroom, or whether it's, driving, or wherever you are, whatever relationships you're in, because I mean, seriously, using your voice is all about relationships. It's all about relationships. So when one becomes different, the other one often doesn't know what to do with that.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah, that's true.
And yet I agree that we need the female essence, we need the male essence. We need that going forward. So to be able to, what we are needing ourselves, and recognizing that very clearly, and then also allowing the other person to be whoever they are, is really, really big. And it often is not considered part of voice for women who have been shut down for a very, very long time. I'll have women just connect with me and say, I'm doing it, I'm just going to tell them, or this person did this to me, and I'm just going to let them have it. And at some level, obviously there's stuff that needs to be expressed. But when you start to learn who you are, then you can express that in a very different way that honors you and honors the other person at the same time. So you don't, it doesn't mean that you can't let something fly when you need to let it fly, because I think that, we know when that has to happen. But it gives us a framework for expressing ourselves that feels good to us.
Yeah, I totally agree with you on that. I really I think for a long time, I used to have this kind of, the typical fighting of blame, until I started to do this, transformational work and this healing work. And I realized, what, it's all about feelings and expressing your feelings and giving the space for the other person to also express their feelings, without the shouting and the yelling. Because, I've learned by so many people, and even my own self, that many of our relationships are very connected to our family, when we were children, and our parents. And until we can heal those dynamics, which are many times very dysfunctional, it's very challenging to come into a healthy relationship. And I sincerely believe healthy relationship starts within ourselves, being healthy with who we are, and really honestly, seeing all of ourselves in whatever that shape or size looks like.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I agree. We bring our own baggage into all those relationships. So it's not a matter of thinking that you can heal, because we do that as women. We think that we can fix people. We think that that's part of our job. That's part of our role. So to pull out of that to the degree that we allow people the space without removing the love, but giving people that space that we're in relationship with, to be able to do their own stuff while we do our own, I think is really important. It's not, I think that's a really important piece. We need to allow that space as well as offer it to ourselves.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like, by giving ourselves a voice, you're allowing another to have voice. And you're breaking down patterns. You're breaking down societal patterns, and really just existing as beings. I'm a being in this world, you're a being, we're having a conversation, and we are allowing ourselves to express as we can, and to the level, I'll sometimes, actually yesterday I was doing an Instagram live, and I had all these epiphanies, and it was really hard for me to even express it in words. And I was actually struggling, and I was like, what, sometimes, and when the emotions run so deep, it is very challenging to express in words. It's challenging to really say what X and Y feels like. And that's where all the other senses come in, and all the other kind of body language comes in, because it could be very challenging. So I think that, I think you may have alluded to it earlier, but voice means so much more than just the actual speaking of communication.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think too, especially when we consider that sexual part of us, words are really important, but words carry a certain meaning to us as well. And that could connect to our history. That could connect to our trauma, just one word. And, when you are connecting the mind, the soul, the spirit, everything, the body sensations, kind of mid encounter, you have to be really aware of those things and have those conversations before. These are real trigger words for me, so let's leave them outside the room for the day, or whatever it is. I think we have to pay attention to that, and that it's okay. It's absolutely okay. If there's something that doesn't work for you, it doesn't work for you. If there's something that really does work for you, that's okay too. Yeah, we forget sometimes that we're humans. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I think I learned this word a long time. I don't know if it was like we are souls living a human experience or something along those lines. But I really feel like also what I hear you saying is, just talking about conscious relationships, like there is no blueprint. There is no one outline, there is no real picket fence with the two, whatever people and the children and the dog, I mean, they could be for some people, but there could be not for others, it could be like a mountaintop, in a tent, I don't know, like, whatever, whatever works for you, whatever makes you feel turned on and happy. I think that's like a new way, or at least for me, it's like more of a aligned way of being. Like I could get to create my own life, and someone can get to share it with me if they desire. But first of all, it's my life, and I think that is really has been very empowering for me.
Yeah, I can imagine. And it has been for me too. But I can remember kind of that shift for me when, when I had to understand that, I am whole. Anyone that I'm in relationship with, no matter who it is, like my partner or my family member or my friends, whoever, my children, they are whole as well. And as much as I may have deep feelings for any of those people, if for some reason they don't share those, or they're not on that same page, then that's okay. I'm still whole. I'm still right there. And it's a really difficult one, I think. It certainly has been for women that I work with. It's a really tough one to grasp, because obviously when you think about losing somebody, you think about all the other pieces to that. What would I do? How, I would be so sad. I would, I don't think I could handle it. Those kinds of things. And then the practical things, if it's actually your partner, so yeah, that was, I can remember that moment and just thinking, oh yeah, that's what I call kicking your own ass, right? Where you just, that the awareness is right there in front of you, and you grasp it and you use it to improve your existence.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I would also add, like, that every day, even with whomever you're with, it's always a choice. Like every moment you're making a choice. We can always choose. I was, with any of my clients, I always say, like, you have the choice to choose a limited belief or to choose something else, something that makes you happy. I'm all into pleasure. So, it would be unfortunate to lose someone who you are not lose, but to no longer be with someone who you truly love. But if you're not aligned anymore, like it's not bad. It's like, okay, that's what it was. And now you're moving into a different phase of your life and you still love someone. And I think that's really important. At least in my previous relationships, it was always like, okay, I'm not with them, I hate them. It was like always an extreme, and at least I feel like I've grown where I can truly love someone, like truly from my heart, like deep in my soul. And if we're not aligned on some things, that's the way it is, like I'm not going to change anybody. If somebody wants to be with me and I want to be with that person, we'll do what we can to make it work. But I feel like, at least previously, I felt like sometimes I was doing too much to make something work, trying too hard. And now, now I have more healthy boundaries than I think than I had before. And I think it's really important for many women, and also men, but I think primarily women who have been traumatized and don't know what that even means, to begin to just, say, this is what I'm looking for, and not to close the door on all things, but to be like really clear. And I think it's an important part of any relationship, any healthy relationship as well, even when you're with a partner, to be like, okay, these are the things that I can do, and these are the things I can't do, and this is really stretching me, like just like we were saying earlier, but being open with those healthy boundaries, I think really does actually help you both to grow.
I agree. I absolutely agree. And yeah, you're right. It's not just the beginning of a relationship where you establish those things and then you move on and you just forget about them, because sometimes they change and sometimes they need to be repeated, because we change in terms of our roles. So, what we needed when we were, when we first met our partners, for example, and that kind of period that is all kind of crazy and, oh my gosh, I can't believe this is happening, to, when we have small children and we are tired and we're cranky because we're so tired, that kind of thing, and trying to figure out the whole, distribution of of roles and chores and all that kind of thing, and then moving forward into, for me, like I'm nearing, well, I'm not ready to retire, but my partner is. So, it's kind of another phase. And every phase has its own place to stop and say, and not even a phase. I mean, you can do this way more often than just that, but, to stop and say, okay, what do I need now? I know we always, my partner and I always did a thing on New Year's Eve, around New Year's Eve. And we would just sit down and say, so I want to be in this relationship another year. Do you want to be in this relationship another year?
Nice.
And you just, and it gives each other, I think, permission to be true to ourselves. Yeah. It's really, that was really helpful for us. Yeah, very helpful. I mean, that wasn't the only thing that we've had to set boundaries on, obviously, but yeah, that was a way to keep us open.
That's really good. I think it's really healthy. I was actually going to say that I don't think that, in some cases it can be forever and sometimes it might not be. And I think it's just really important to know that every moment, you're making a choice to be with that person or not, and you're making a choice to work through your stuff with this person or not. And to be clear about that, because, and I think the people that have, or I've seen, at least for myself, and I'm very much like committed to things when I do something, but it's also important to know where the other person's at, and if they're not, then you can either have a conversation, it's just it's always an open conversation. Yeah. And I like that. I'm glad you shared that.
Yeah. Because I think when we are, kind of sequestered on our own, thinking that, we have to protect ourselves as opposed to honor who we are and just be open and expressive about it. I think we put ourselves in a position where we can't see, we can't feel, we can't allow that other person to be who they are. So as sad, and you said this earlier, it would be quite sad for, one partner to say, I don't want to do this anymore, when the other partner is deeply in love. Are you going to have to go through some stuff? Yeah, for sure. But will you come out the other side and be better? Yeah, you will. And I think about that too, relative to just finding your voice. I have a new program that I've just announced called You'll Get What You Want When You Find Your Voice. And I thought, when I first put it out, I thought, oh, you know what? Someone's going to call bullshit. Someone's going to say, no way, you can't get what you want just by using your voice. And I believe it, or I never would have called it that. But I thought, okay, I need to just be really clear. I want to get really clear in my head about why, why you can. When we're all about relationships, we even just expressing what we need in a relationship, So there are boundaries, there are all kinds of other things, but just expressing what we need in a relationship is huge. And by doing that, just being able to say what we need, we level the playing field so that we either the other person is there too, and we get what we need, we get what we want, or that person says, kind of not into it, so thanks, but I'm out. Hopefully not quite in those words, but which also gives you the opportunity to, may not be the outcome you're looking for, but it gives you the opportunity to really create additional awareness for yourself and to understand how important those needs are, and that you can move on and find them elsewhere. Right. So I guess that's has been on my mind since I popped that new program out. It's really, you can get what you want by using your voice. If you're silent, chances are it's not happening.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. So tell us more, when is this program starting? That was going to be my next question anyway. Like, what are you working on? So great segue.
Good timing. The program starts toward the end of August. I think I have it slated, the first group, it's a group program, for the 22nd. We go for 9 weeks. So 9 sessions, probably a little break in between 3. So 3 break, 3 break, 3 break. And we work on the model that I mentioned earlier. We work on taking full and complete responsibility for our experiences. Full responsibility for our experiences. So there's no more blaming, there's no more hiding. If that's what you want, then you gotta embrace it. And then the second piece is about, I call it deep core mapping. So it's learning everything about yourself, down to, and I always joke about this and use this as an example, but I love high heels, and I've got plenty of gorgeous heels, let me tell you. Can I wear them anymore? No. So, they're not on my list of good things anymore. Yeah, I leave them in the closet because they're so pretty, but that's just one thing. So, but it's things like, what you need, physically, what you feel comfortable in terms of what you're wearing, the kind of hairstyle that makes you feel good. It's all about making us feel good, right? What you need sexually, what you need nutritionally, it's all over. What you need emotionally in partnership and relationships, and again, it's all about our relationships, right? So to get really, really clear about all of it, right down to, your favorite toenail polish color, there's nothing too small and nothing trivial, because it's all an understanding of you. And then the next piece is we take true experiences. We take your relationships, like bring them in, because we're going to go at them. As a group, we're going to, everybody's going to bring their stuff, and we're going to take what we know about ourselves and actually practice how we can apply that knowledge and that understanding and our newfound kicking our own ass stuff to improve our relationships. And if, knowing that somebody may or may not accept it, but that's okay, because we're okay.
Right. That's great. That's very exciting. So we'll put the link in if anyone's interested in finding out more information about your program.
Cool. Thank you. I'll send it to you.
Definitely.
Thank you.
And you said that there's a book coming out soon?
Yeah. So Find Your Voice, Save Your Life. And this is book 1. She's so pretty. I love it. Collaborative book, 25 authors. So excited. So 2 is coming out, and we're not published until the 3rd of August. So I don't have a pretty picture for it, but very thrilled. Another 25 authors who have taken their hearts and souls and put them on paper for 2 reasons. One, because they've never written that story before. And there's always an element of healing that happens, big or little, when you write something that is intimate like that, and writing about using your voice is very intimate. When you start to write that, then there's always that element of healing. And again, big or little, it doesn't matter. There's always that piece, and it's always any kind of healing is good, right? In my book, anyway. And then to be able to have that both as a tool to share with readers, of course, who will look at that and see themselves on those pages somewhere and decide that, okay, yeah, maybe I could do a little bit of that. Maybe I could. Yeah, maybe I can't do what she did, but maybe I can do what she did next year. For now, I'll do this bit. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it's about opening up other people to, based on the experiences of the writers, which full well about. So it's exciting. It's coming out. It's being published in August, on August the 3rd. And yeah. I'm not sure when this, maybe we're going to go live. Maybe we're live now. I'm not sure, but
we're not live now. It'll go out by next week. Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Okay. Then yeah, I will. Yeah, I'll do that. Fantastic. Yeah. Very excited. Very excited.
Yeah.
And if you are a spiritual healer and you have a story to tell about your awakening, please get with me, because there are more books coming, and that will be one of them.
Ah, fantastic. Yeah, most of my followers are all into spirituality. So,
Excellent.
So you may get some, people interested in your next book. So thank you for doing that.
Thank you. I would love that. Our spiritual voices, I'm just, honestly, I'm just connecting to my gifts. So it's a very timely, I think it's timely anyway in the world, but it's timely for me as well. So I'm just thrilled, and I just love to talk to people about their, when they found their spiritual voice and what they're doing with it, what they're doing in the world and helping other people. I think that's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like energetically we are poised to really step into it, and this is like no other. I mean, it's like a mass. I've been on this path now for about 4 years, and, it's like a mass awakening now, and it's like all coming together. It seemed like it was always elusive, to me. I was like always very spiritual since I was a child, but now it's like I just feel like it's a very historic time, and things are just, I'm really glad that you found it as well. So that is really wonderful, and sharing that with the world.
Yeah, thank you. Well, denied it for a long time, right?
It doesn't matter.
It's here
like
now.
In actuality, I was listening to this. It was like on Netflix. It was like a documentary. Anyway, someone was like a scientist studying time, and he's like, actually time is a construct. There is really, humans actually don't. Their seasons change and things like that. But without a clock, we won't have any real knowledge of time. It's timeless. Everything is timeless, especially when you're in the flow, when you're writing or when you're coaching or whatever it is that you're doing that you really enjoy, you lose all sense of time. And I think that is our natural state, to be like, okay, I have to do, we have a calendar, we have things to do. But without that, just think about, I can even think about it. Like, let's just say I didn't have a calendar, like things would just kind of flow like a river, like you have this thing and then you meet this person and then you do that thing. And, like yesterday actually was a great example. We had to go to the doctor, I have 3 kids. We took them and I was just like, okay, let's do this. And then I just became very spontaneous, and it was really wonderful because like, I didn't have a sense of, I lost a sense of time. Yes. And my son wasn't very appreciative. So might get some, flack about that. But, in the end, it's always fun, because it's almost like childlike, right? Like a child doesn't have any sense of time. It just is. It's awake.
Yeah.
It could be 2 a.m. It doesn't know. It doesn't know that it's night. It's just awake. Now it's time to play, and now it's time to eat, like, I don't know. I feel like, if we can just take a day or a week or something to live like that again, we tap into this true sense of being, the vitality of life, without all the without all the responsibilities. And I think it's just really important to do that.
Yeah, I agree. It's nice to, and I find it difficult to take that time. I don't have little kids that I kind of have to respond to in that way. So it's really different. So I feel a little restricted where that's concerned, but my daughters will call me sometime and say, Mom, do you have anything over lunch? Because I have an appointment with this one and I don't want to take that one, or whatever. Can they come and hang out? Well, yeah. And that one's coming over today. My grandson's coming over for lunch today, which, I wouldn't think to plan in for a weekday, but when it happens, it's like, yeah, I love this. What are we going to have for lunch? This could be so much fun. Yeah. Yeah. Just one-to-one. It's beautiful. So yeah, take that time. Yeah. Take that time and just, because I know for me, it's that big, huge reminder that playfulness is important for me, that any child is important to me. Those children are particularly important to me. And I've always felt a very strong role, like I know my job is to keep them safe and secure. Mm-hmm. I've known that since they were born, all of them. So it takes me there, and that feels fantastic. And I feel like I'm honoring myself. So yeah, thanks for that reminder.
Wow, fantastic. Yeah, actually this morning, just to kind of take off on that spontaneity. So I take my dog out for walks, and there's like a little playground, and like every once in a while I'll swing. It's like nobody was outside, and I was like, all right, yeah, I'm gonna go on the swing. My dog was waiting for me. I felt like I was 10 again or whatever. And I just felt like, yeah, we need to take that time. It doesn't matter, if you're whatever age you are, age is a construct also, so like, yes. We are, and your grandson and everyone in your life loves you because you are, because you exist. And I think it's just important to remind ourselves that all of those other things are parts of us, but essentially we are just these beings, and we can, again, we can make the choice to have fun or not. So let's always choose fun.
Absolutely. Let's always choose fun. Yeah. Yeah. That's part of why I said yes to this interview. We had fun last time. This was fun too. Thank you.
Would you like to share anything else that you're working on that you'd like our viewers to know about?
The only other thing that keeps going for me is a new writing program that I do, because a lot of women, so I'm doing the books, of course, and they will continue, but there are women that, want to come and write, but they're not ready to be in a published book, which is fine. So I started a new program called Writing for the Heal of It. And it's basically writing from prompts and coaching, going deep with, to places where you need to release, and getting that stuff out in a very safe space, very small groups. So yeah, that's ongoing. So yeah, you can find me at cravemorelife.com, and you'll be able to see that stuff there. Yeah, it's nice to be able to offer something other than, you want to write, you need to be published. A lot of people just are not ready for that. Yeah.
Right. I do that as well. And I think it's really important. It's really great to have a safe space and to just totally just allow yourself to come into this secure environment where you're being held, and to just kind of unfold, because there's so much that's going on here, and things are changing, and our life is always running. But when we can kind of sit still and just be, I think it's, and have someone hold that space for us, it's super important. So that's fantastic.
Yeah. Sister. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, we do similar work. I also have a writing course, but mine is, I do a group program that's a year long, and then I do a writing, I have a 1 month writing, and then I have 3 and 6 month mentoring for one-on-ones. And I go also pretty deep into the shadows, because I feel like only when we can go into those spaces can we really uncover the light, and to really connect again to that wholeness, to that, yin yang, to see all of the colors of the rainbow. So great. Yeah. If you're resonating with Dianna or me, just connect with us. We're here to assist you to find your voice, to open up your sexuality, and to really own all the parts of yourself. So it was so great to connect with you today, Dianna.
Oh, so great to connect with you too, Gila. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
You're so welcome. Thank you. between us through her voices of women